So the thing that I forgot to mention comes from this book called Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. And in this book, they talk about a study that was done in 1990 at Stanford University. And what the PhD student was looking at was a famous experiment called the tappers versus listeners experiment. And in that experiment, she was trying to figure out if we just had people tapping the melody of a song or the rhythm of the song, could the listeners be able to identify it? And she asked the research subjects beforehand, and they said probably 40 to 50% of the time, we predict that the listeners will be able to get the information. But what the study actually found, and here's the key part, really 0% of the listeners were able to get what the song was that they were tapping. And so the predicted outcome was not really what the participants had anticipated. And really, what that spurred on was more research and what became known in their research as the curse of knowledge. It's one thing to know something and know a whole lot about it, and then to try and communicate that to other people. There are barriers and challenges in the way because of what's known as the curse of knowledge. Let's give you an example. You're going to be the listener, I'm going to be the tapper, and let's see if you can figure out this song. Pause your recording. Think about it for a second. Did you know what that song was? That was Happy Birthday. Now, here's the thing. I knew what that song was. I was singing that melody in my head as I was tapping that song out. But that's the curse of knowledge. So if you could get it, great, congratulations. But if you didn't have any idea, that's exactly what the psychologists at Stanford University were researching, and that's exactly what was highlighted in this book. What does that mean then for us as educators? Well, we know a whole lot about our content, if not almost all that we need to know about our content for a high school classroom, but the students don't. And the worker priority standards helps get us in line with what we need to make sure students know and can be able to do to access the content. We can keep teaching and we can just keep tapping it out, but if they don't know what that melody is, then they have a harder time accessing that understanding because they don't have those tools. When we look at priority standards and we start unpacking the learning targets underneath those priority standards, then we get to tell the students more about the melody of what's happening in our courses. So we appreciate any of the work and all of the work that you all are doing to make sure that we can identify these priority standards for our students moving forward. I really look forward to helping us out with this work as we keep joining together in this effort to make learning be crystal clear, more so than it ever has before.